Just took to Twitter to ask you guys for comparisons for Cam Reddish, and the results were pretty wild. I asked for a low end and a high end. Some of the low ends went as low as Aaron Harrison, high ends, Danny Granger, Paul George. We had a bunch of Ben McLemore mixed in as a potential low end, usually, but my favorite answer was actually low end Terrence Ross missing shots, high end Terrence Ross making shots. Terrence Ross pretty hot, sometimes pretty cold, streaky, big time athlete, big time shooter when he gets hot, but a guy who kind of just, has a little rep for floating through games a little bit, but for the most part has established himself as a good 3 and D wing in the NBA. That's kind of how I view Cam Reddish. Let's take a quick dive into his film before the draft and see what I see in terms of his 3 and D potential. First and foremost, like I said, when he's making shots, it looks really good. He's got a fluid stroke. He's got good follow through. He's got pretty good form. Pretty straight up and straight down. Was Duke's best shooter, a higher percentage shooter than Barrett. And for the most part, what he's going to be asked in the NBA is to run to the corners and make the corner three. He seems to be able to do that. He does a good job running in transition, finding the corner, setting his feet, again, going straight up, straight down. Splashes a lot on his follow through. That's usually a good sign when you can really swish shots like that. Even off the move, he's got a little bit of a jump stop off the move where he can hit those kind of short movement, short drift threes that I think will translate and make him a pretty good shooter at the next level. You see again as he runs to the corner here, when he does miss, it tends to be something that's not exactly a huge issue form-wise. You see his feet a little bit off center here, the right's a little bit ahead of the left, and then sometimes his form does become a little bit of like a two-handed release, a little bit more of that left hand on the ball than you typically want, and causing it to sometimes go long, sometimes go short. You'd rather your misses be long and short, though. Here, you see him standing up a little bit too much, not really down and ready to shoot. This is another issue. Occasionally, when he misses shots, usually because of being a little too upright. You see again here, this release a little bit lower than you'd like, kind of like a push release, two hands sort of on the side of the ball here, a little two-handed release like I talked about. So when he misses shots, it's usually pretty easy to correct. I think you can clean up a few of these little things and make him into a pretty consistent 36, 37% NBA three-point shooter, which again bodes pretty well for his career as a 3-and-D guy. On top of that, he can occasionally create a little bit off pin downs. A couple people mentioned like Otto Porter. He can do what Otto can in terms of being able to get to the elbow, one dribble pull-ups, little shots like these off pin downs. He's got pretty good form on, pretty good footwork on as well. Now, in terms of the defense size, he definitely passes the eye test. He's a good, long, 6'7" defender with a good NBA body, good hands. When he's really in a stance, really willing to play defense, he gets low, he gets a lot of these pickoffs, even in transition. He can be the type of guy who can really get up and put pressure. Keyword, though, is he can be. Defense is all about buy-in. When he wants to be, he can be really good. When he buys in every single possession, he can do it. Watch this whole possession here as he's in the corner. Watch him switch on this chin cut and communicate it to RJ. Great communication on the switch. Watch him tag the roller right here. Good awareness away from the ball. Watch him get back out to guard Aaron Henry. And now be in a really good stance on the ball to contain the dribble penetration, cut off Henry's preferred left hand, stay low, stay down, get a little piece of the shot, maybe forcing a shot clock violation. What does concern me, though, aside from his 3-and-D, similar to Ross, actually similar to guys like McLemore, there's not a whole lot at the rim, and that tends to be pretty troublesome if you want to really make the jump and be a guy worthy of a top 10 pick. When he does go to the rim, a lot of times he kind of shies away from contact. What I do like about his game is he can use both hands really well. RJ, I've talked about a lot in my scout of him, can really only use his left, like Zion, strongly prefers that left hand. You see Cam really has good handles, good shake with both, ability to go around his defender either way. And again, when he does get to the basket, he can finish with authority. He just tends to shy away from contact a little bit. And then on top of that, if you want to really be great in the league, I've talked a lot about being a 3-level scorer. You need to be able to score from 3, from the rim, and then the great ones can also do it from the mid-range to get their own shot off, to create their own shots. That's usually what you expect out of most of these top 5 or 10 picks. I don't really see a ton of that out of Cam. You see a decent step back there, but he's not super efficient with his moves. He's not really a super skilled pick and roll player, as you see here, him picking the dribble up after only one dribble, not really giving the roll any sort of a chance, and just getting rid of it quickly. His triple threat footwork is a little bit sped up compared to a guy like Culver, who had broken down, has a really advanced face-up triple threat game. Cam tends to really be sped up, and then you might think this is a good move and a good shot since it went in, but really it was just pretty wild of him getting, again, sped up, not knowing exactly what he wants to do, ending up going to a really, really awkward left hand kind of spin, step back. I don't know what the heck that was. It went in, but again, he's not the most efficient, doesn't really have a ton of go-to moves in that range. When he does, again, put the ball down, he doesn't have a super tight handle and tends to get stripped trying to play in traffic. I know a lot of people talked about, yes, Duke doesn't have the best shooting in the world, but they do keep the floor space pretty well. They're not like Carolina, where they have guys constantly on the blocks or in the free throw line. They generally gave him a decent amount of space to operate, and he just, quite frankly, would get stripped on situations like these a lot, trying to go to his spin move, which he does sort of telegraph. He puts the ball down in traffic, coming off pin downs, doesn't have a great knack for where the help's coming from right away, and gets turnovers that way. Just a few little things that he can definitely clean up and become more efficient at. Also, just in terms of reading the game, basketball IQ, things like these, quick handoff, your man's clearly going under. This should be a pop behind, stop behind three right away. Quick jump stop into your footwork behind the three-point line, shoot it. Instead, he kind of just catches it right off the handoff and puts it down, lets his man catch up, and then steps back and picks the ball up for no reason, kind of getting in a bad dead man spot. When the ball eventually finds him again, you see again, when he goes into traffic, he frequently gets blocked at the rim. Not great at creating his own space again, even in late clock situations like this. If you want to be compared to Paul George, to Kawhi, to guys like that, you got to be able to get your own shot off quickly at the end of the shot clock, get separation, leap, kind of shies away from it a little bit there. What I do like, though, again, like I said, he can use both hands. I do think there is some pick and roll potential there, not as a primary creator, but his ability to dribble with his left as well as his right, I think, will mean that he can learn this in the NBA. Remember, he played at Duke as, again, a third option behind two really, really talented guys. This was a situation where if he had gone somewhere else, if he had gone to Murray State or something, we may be looking at him completely different if he got to really run his own team and be the focal point of an offense. As a third guy, he got his opportunities here and there, and for the most part, he did take advantage of them. I think Cam Reddish is a solid 3-and-D guy, actually very much like a Terrence Ross, who will stick in the league for a long time. Whether that's worth a top 5 pick, probably not. Top 10, probably at the end of the day, but not the highest upside in the entire world, and I don't really see the Paul George, to be honest with you. Thanks for watching. Please make sure you thumb up, hit that subscribe button. A lot more draft content coming soon.